Hello and welcome to the MSTieCast. I'm Toby Mobius.
I'm Justin Toner.
And we're back, which is weird because it's not the end of the month. Quick word of note. Pretty much just as soon as we released our last episode, they added new stuff to the MST3K YouTube channel.
Yay.
Literally the day after they added the Final Sacrifice, which, as you all know, stars the amazing Rosdower.
You can't beat the Rosdower.
Can't. And 4 days ago, the Puma Man. Puma Man. He flies like a
moron.
Yeah. He has
the awesome baldness of Donald Pleasance.
Major cities. In addition, Joel has a new TV series out, which you can watch on yahoo.com. What is the title of that show, Justin?
I think it's Other Space.
Other Space, that's it. And it also has Trace Beaulieu. I don't know how to pronounce Trace's name. I probably should learn how to do that. I'm going to say Beaulieu. Trace Beaulieu, that sounds right.
I always thought it was Beaulieu, or, like all French-like, yeah.
Quiet, you're not here yet.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Paul Feig is behind that. Corner. I've heard it's basically described as kind of like a sci-fi version of like The Office.
Yeah. It's like Star Trek and The Office mixed together. And of note, Trace is playing a robot named Art.
Yeah. I think Joel plays like the chief engineer of the ship or something.
Joel is Scotty, I can see it.
And Art, voiced by Trace, is his buddy. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. It's 80 episodes, available to watch for free. Gotta go just to Yahoo screen through Yahoo's website. I'll have to check it out. See if it's any good.
Indeed. And we would be remiss if we did not mention that Robert Zadar recently passed away.
Yeah.
MST3K will remember Zadar as the puffy-faced Soul Taker in Soul Taker.
And he was also, he had a brief, smaller part in Future War. He played one of the cyborgs that the hero had to fight at the end of the movie.
Yes.
So, and he's been in a lot of movies.
Quite prolific in B-movies.
Yeah, the Maniac Cop movies, Tango Cash, a bunch of stuff. It's like it's like Bruce Campbell. He's got the big chin. It's like you just can't. It's like you can't.
Apparently, that's just what you need to do B-movies. You have to have a giant chin and a good sense of humor about yourself.
Pretty much.
And he definitely did.
He did. So that was sad news.
Anyway, going to our guest.
Yes, we have a special guest with us tonight.
Yes, we have a very special guest. He has a Kickstarter out for a Mystery Science Theater-themed book. Please welcome Mr. David Chadwick, a.k.a. Sugar Ray Dodge.
Hi, everybody. I'm here now. How's that?
Yes, you're here now. You've been let out of your cage.
I decided to show up. It was, it was the strangest thing. A few days ago, Toby, when was it I emailed you first? It was like Wednesday night, wasn't it?
It was like Wednesday night, something like that.
Yeah, it was just a few days ago that you sent us.
Because I saw an interview with I'm drawing a blank on her name. I've talked
Jackie
to her
like
3 times. Yes, yeah, okay, yeah, her, yeah. I saw that somebody reblogged it on MST3K at Tumblr. And I thought, wait a minute, whoa, there's a Misty podcast? How in God's name did I not know this existed?
It's a question all Misties need to ask themselves.
Yeah, so and then I was like, well, this is great because I could like force my way onto their show. Literally just discovering it 10 minutes ago, send them an email. Hey, I have a Kickstarter. I'm coming on your show. Deal with it.
Sunglasses.
But yes, I am running a Kickstarter for it's actually a graphic novel, really more of an anthology, but I'm calling it a graphic novel called Mystery Science Storybook: Bedtime Tales Based on the Worst Movies Ever. And what I'm doing basically, and I already have a lot of it drawn. What I'm doing is I'm selecting films featured on MST3K and Riff Tracks, and I'm drawing my own parodies of them, and just like putting that all together in the guys' book. It's not really a storybook. I'm a graphic designer, but I really wanted to do this. To do it, I needed some funds so that I would be able to concentrate on it, be able to like devote my whole attention to it. So I created for it. There's a blog for it. It's MysteryScienceStorybook.com. Go ahead and read all about it there. There's the complete first chapter there available to read. It's a parody of Manos, The Hands of Fate. It's called A Trip to Valley Lodge. But people seem to like it, I like to think. So,
Yes.
yeah. So go there and do that. The Kickstarter ends on Wednesday at 5:20 a.m. Mountain Time, which is where I am. I'm in Utah. But everywhere else, so that's we're recording this Friday night. We've already met our goal, but I'm doing some stretch goals because I want to be able to raise as much money as I can. So for every 1,000 we raise past our stretch goal, I'm going to add 3 more. I'm going to add 3 more parodies to it. It's going to be so right now. So right now it's 12 parodies that I have mostly chosen. 3,000 is going to be 15 parodies. 4,000 is going to be 18 parodies. No wait. Everybody do the math. I think I might. I don't even know what my own Kickstarter levels are here. Hold on. But
don't worry, we can fix this in post.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
Let's see.
I'm looking at I got the page.
Yeah. Okay.
So
$3,000 unlocks 15 parodies, including what I originally called Hobgoblins for the parody of Hobgoblins, but I recently changed that because I came up with a better idea. It's Teenage Mutant Ninja Hobgoblins. So yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, that will be one of, and you can look at all the promo graphics in Mystery Science Storybook. They're all there.
Yeah, really cool. You got like what the Room, Birdemic, Harry Potter,
The
Silent Earth.
Yeah.
Oh, Puma Man.
That one. I predict there are 2 of them that I'm calling hijacked parodies. It's the first one is
the amazing
the amazing Puma Man, which is basically the Amazing Spider-Man's going to come in and just take over the Puma Man. So it's going to be an Amazing Spider-Man parody. I'm calling it Puma Man. Say like, hey, this is my Puma Man parody, but it's not a Puma Man at all. I'm just using his costume instead, because everyone's gonna love that. And the same thing with Teenage Mutant Ninja Hobgoblins. It's basically Ninja Turtles hijacking Hobgoblins. So
I have to say the other one I really like is Miami Ice combining Guy from Harlem and Cool Ice. That's okay. That one I really
I almost dropped that because that was a part of the initial 7. But that was part of the initial 7 that I was going to launch with. But I came up with the idea. Well, what if Guy from Harlem teamed up with Cool as Ice? That would be funny. But this happened literally the day before before it launched, and I quickly drew this. Just like it was just basically Vanilla Ice and Al Connors, like pointing guns at Blackula, in Al's office from the Guy from Harlem. And it didn't really look that great, and it just seemed like it was kind of uninspired. And the other day I was like, okay, I gotta spice things up because if I ever want to make a volume 2, I'm gonna need some more good choices for the future. So I almost dropped that one, and I almost dropped what was then called Harlem Style. I was on my way home. I was going to drop it, and then as soon as I got home, this hit me that like, what if it's Miami Ice? Then I got so much more excited about it, and so I drew it, and I think it's definitely one of my favorite promo images for the campaign because it just seemed like. It seems like I didn't even do it. It just seemed like hey, do me, So like I almost don't want to take any credit for it, but I'm very excited about that one as well.
It's really nice.
This looks like it's going to be really well.
Oh yeah, it totally is, and I'm very excited about it. I'm getting a lot of good positive response back from not only the fans but also. RiffTrax has been helping out a little bit by retweeting and making people aware of the project.
I did want to mention that as well. You were the editor-in-chief of RiffWiki?
Yes, RiffWiki.net. That is our wiki for RiffWiki.net. It's basically a Riff Tracks wiki because I love Wikia and I love Riff Tracks, and it was about a year ago. It was June last year. But I was just like, this is ridiculous. Why isn't there a Riff Tracks? Like for years, I've just been saying, why isn't there a Riff Tracks wiki? Then it hit me. Well, no one else is going to do that mess but you. So it's like I was getting mad at other people for not doing it when I really should have been getting mad at myself. Because if you want something to exist, you really should. No, you really should.
Well, if you want it done right, you got to do it yourself.
You got to do it yourself.
So, and it's just been such a blast. We've done, and I think what sets it apart from other wikis is that we don't just do, just straight, just entries from like, okay, it's this movie and this movie and this movie, just like all it is
and these
info.
are the running jokes.
Yeah. But I started doing interviews for the wiki, and that's one of the wiki's special features. And last year, it's kind of dried up a little bit this year because I've been very busy this year, with so much like I got to take commissions because I'm a graphic designer, this crap, I lost my train of thought, but okay, I got it now. But last year we did, starting in about, I want to say it was about in August, we started interviewing people, and our first interview was with James Cruz of Ronan Fox Track. Great riffing show. But then I started getting a little more brave, and I approached Matthew J. Elliott of Riff Tracks Presents, like, hey, do you want to get interviewed? He's like, fuck yeah. and so then it just kind of then we got to interview Rick Wolf from Incognito Cinema Warriors XP.
We also talked to him. He's fantastic.
Cole Stratton and Janet Varney have been interviewed. Connor Listoka and Sean Thomason have been interviewed on the wiki. Rick Sloan, director of Hobgoblins, has been interviewed as well.
Great dude.
Yeah, so many, and Alan Baugh has been too. And I'm not gonna. It would be rude of me to talk about people behind their backs, but so I'll just say this: Alan Baugh, what you think of him is probably true. He really is, and I'll just leave it at that. Whatever your impressions are of him in Birdemic, he really is that guy in real life.
Okay.
He really is a nice guy, though. I don't want to denigrate him or anything, but I was kind of expecting somebody a little bit different than the character, than Rod, but it just seemed like I was talking to Rod. And this past week, Riff Tracks set me up with an interview with Tommy Wiseau. It was our first audio interview. And I think that's still on the front page of the wiki. Have you guys ever talked to Tommy Wiseau? Have you ever picked?
No.
That guy that guy, number one, he's great. The dude is great. He's intense. But he's pushy in a very odd kind of way. Just to listen to that guy think, what that guy thinks, you realize that this is a guy that exists in real life, and that this is not an act. This guy is like that for real. But the thing is, he's not a phony. He doesn't pretend to be anything he's not. And I think he's very confident with who he is, and he doesn't really feel the need to change to adapt to what other people think he should be. He's also a very, very intense individual. But it was just such a trip. And last year we interviewed Greg Cicero, Mark, and I've gotten to know him a little bit, actually a lot better since then. And I sent him an email that morning, and I was like, hey Greg, hey man, Riff Tracks set me up with this interview with Tommy Wiseau, and I can't screw it up. And I don't, it's just like, I need some advice. How do I engage this guy without, unleashing what people perceive of him, which is like kind of like this insane, crazy person. He said like, basically what Greg said to me was that if you don't ask him where he's from, he will answer any other question. Do not ask him where he's from, though. That's like, that really is, like the only thing he doesn't like talking about. And he was right. I didn't ask him where he was from, but he opened up about quite a lot of stuff that I really didn't expect him to go to. But it's just like he is definitely unique. I'll say that, but he's also very surprisingly. You'd be surprised at the guy's, for lack of a better word, humanity, or for just like his just like his drive to do what he wants to do. I mean, people can say whatever they want about The Room, but what they can't say is that it's a failure. And he loves The Room. He's all about The Room. That is his story. He made it happen, and you can't take that away from him, because he knows, hey, I had this dream. I wanted to make this thing, and I made this thing, and it is viewed around the world. In cinema. So what, me being me, it's not going to, what you think of me is not going to deter me from doing what I want to do, which I actually think is very, very admirable for, especially, like, especially in the industry of independent films, where you got a lot of eggheads, a lot of blowhards who like to talk big about themselves. Tommy Wiseau, he might be a talker, but he backs it up because he is successful. So it's like, so when you hear people talk about how great and awesome their movies are, and then you see their movies and they suck, and like maybe 20 people have ever seen them. It's like, you can tell, like, oh, well, this guy's just, just full of himself. But that's not Tommy Wiseau. He can back it up. So that's really all I can say about the guy. So.
Right on.
Very interesting.
Well, I guess getting into the main questions that we tend to ask our guests. Okay. How did you get into Mystery Science Theater?
Well, a couple of ways, actually. Well, actually, really only one way. Very first, when I was in, I think, what was this? What was it? 96 when the movie came out? Yeah, it was 96. Yeah. I had just gotten out of the 9th grade, and I was working at McDonald's. My older sister, who was a year ahead of me, worked at Blockbuster Video, and she worked just like literally kitty corner away from me, right there on 12th Street in Ogden, in Utah. Yeah, because you guys know where all these places are. She came home one day with This Island Earth, the movie, and we watched it. And this is like, this is a thing. This is great. I love this. And so and that's kind of a bond that me and my sister share. Is that we share This Island Earth. Just like just this awesome experience between us. And then I started watching, because I think almost immediately after that they went to the Sci-Fi Channel, and with the lineup of Mike, Kevin, and Bill. So really, that's really my initial experience. Pardon me, with Mystery Science Theater was the sci-fi years, and I more identified Bill as the, not rightful, but as my crow. Bill's crow was my crow, as opposed to Trace being the crow that everybody else before me associated with that character.
Right.
Yeah, which is totally fine. And then it went off the air, and I didn't see MST3K for a long time, but I thought about it a lot. And I think it was in 2005. It was my second. We were in Kuwait. I was in the Army for a long time, and we were in Kuwait. My unit was. We were getting ready to go to our second deployment. So we were just hanging out in Kuwait for like 3 days. And it's just like, and if you've never been to Kuwait, that place is so boring. It's just, there's nothing to do. If you're just sitting around in a staging area waiting to go to Iraq in Camp Virginia in 2005, you're literally wasting your entire day for like 3 days, and it feels like a week. And my friend, I'll just call him, I'll use his last name. My friend Brake, he had a DVD set that had Manos and Santa and the Ice Cream Bunny. And that just like reignited this whole thing because, I wasn't too familiar. I knew they existed, but I wasn't too familiar with the works of Joel and Trace and everybody that came before that. I still have kind of a problem watching seasons 1 and KTMA, but that's that's a whole nother discussion. But it kind of
well, you're not the only one.
Yeah.
Most of the fandom are only like the really diehards are like some really enjoy like KTMA.
Oh yeah, KTMA especially.
Most fans look at it as like it's still MST3K, but it's rough around the edges. It wasn't until season 2 it started to fire on all cylinders.
With what was it with the Side Hackers, right? That was their first one. Yeah, that was that one is far and away better than anything they did in season 1. But so I did that. So that was in 2005, and so I watched a lot of DVDs of MST3K during my downtime in Iraq, and I heard about Riff Tracks when it first came out, but it's like, but again, I was in Iraq and I was kind of busy. I was like, oh, well, I'll check that out when I get back to Germany or Aberdeen or wherever it is I'm going next. And I ended up not getting to it until the Christmas of 2008. It was my second to last Christmas in the Army because I was literally leaving the Army in about 14 months after that. Okay. So I didn't go anywhere. And right. So I didn't go anywhere, and I was sitting in my apartment there in Baltimore, and I was bored out of my mind. And so I went and I picked up, in 2008, everybody remembers 2008, the biggest movie in the world in 2008 that year was The Dark Knight.
Absolutely.
I went to Riff Tracks. Oh, hey, I'm going to check this out. I'm going to check this out now. And I bought the Dark Knight riff. And then I was just sold on this whole concept of Riff Tracks after The Dark Knight. I became a fanatic almost instantly. I mean, I think I might be more of a fanatic than most, and I'm not talking anybody down about Riff Tracks. I painted myself pretty solidly in Riff Tracks colors, just basically because of all the fan art that I've done and all the fan, and the wiki especially, and 2 Kickstarters now. One was for a movie that I don't really want to get into what happened there. It was just such a cluster that I didn't even try another Kickstarter until this past one. And that was about the movie Kickstarter was in early 2014, and it was just such a traumatic experience doing that. Again, I won't get into the details because it's super unprofessional of me to do so, to just explain what happened. But, suffice it to say, it didn't work, and that I just had to move on. But then I came up with this idea on March. I think I just got done watching season 3 of not Game of Cards, House of Cards, not Game of Thrones.
Game of Cards on motorcycles.
Yeah, Game of Cards. What the hell? But and it just hit me because I'd been up all night and I hadn't gone to sleep. Well, of course I hadn't gone to sleep if I'd been up all night. And then I'm in kind of like this fever dream state after you've been up for so long watching Netflix all night long. Then it hit me a bit like, wouldn't it be so funny if there was a storybook, like a parody kid storybook of all these super horrible bad movies? Then I went to bed and I woke up and I'm like, wait, that's a good idea. Why am I not doing that? So I spent the next month or the next 3 weeks developing this idea because I didn't want to start the Kickstarter while Riff Tracks is doing their Kickstarter. Because I have a very good relationship with the Riff Tracks organization. And they've done a lot for me and for the wiki. And they indulged me really more than I deserve. They've taken an interest in making the wiki successful. And, it's like, so I didn't want to go and distract everybody from trying to make not that I could distract them, but that I didn't want the appearance to be that I was trying to steal their donors who, while they're still trying to make their stretch goals happen. So I waited until literally the next day after their Kickstarter campaign started was when I started mine, and that was on March 23rd.
Right.
But before that, I spent 3 weeks. I spent the Manos, the trip to Valley Lodge. That took a solid week to write and draw, and it was so much fun, but at the same time, it was incredibly stressful because it's just like, okay, this is what everyone's going to see, what this thing is, and it better be good. It better look good. First of all, it better look good, because as a reader of comics, I don't care if it's the best story in the world. If your art looks like shit, no one will read it. Because I wouldn't read it. I mean, I know a lot of people like the Dark Knight Returns by Frank Miller. I've tried to read it. I've watched the movie. I like the movie. Apparently, it does have a very kick-ass story. But I don't like the way the Dark Knight Returns. I keep confused with the Dark Knight Rises, but I don't like the way the Dark Knight Returns looks. I don't like the way Frank Miller draws. I don't think it looks good at all. In fact, I think it's probably one of the ugliest comic books I've ever seen. And so it's just be like, people are like, oh, it's great subtext. Like, it might be. I'll never know, because I'm not going to read it because it looks like crap. And I'm not denigrating anybody's taste out there. I know a lot of people like it, and if you do, hey, that's great. But I personally, it's not for me, because I believe the art is garbage. So knowing that, and it better be funny, damn you, because, so I was just like, so basically the format is like a spread, like, every 2 pages reads as a 4-panel newspaper comic strip. And every parody is 12 pages long. So it's basically a week's worth of newspaper comic strip, like a newspaper comic strip story arc that takes place over 6 days minus Sunday. And every single strip needs to be its own kind of story. It also needs to be funny in its own right. It also needs to advance the plot as well. So when you're just really dealing with 12 you're dealing with 6 strips for each parody, 12 pages. And it's something like 24 panels, and you got to get from the front of Manos to the end of Manos in 24 panels, and that's not that really is not a lot of room.
No.
It's extremely challenging to make this fit. In fact, just today I started working on When Harry Met Bella, which is the Harry Potter Twilight crossover that I've been wanting to do for at least 3 years, because I think because and I'll say it, I love Twilight. I do. It had really I'm serious. It has brought me now. When I first came out, I resented this as this like, what the fuck is this? This is fucking retarded. I'm the only long-haired Mormon guy you'll ever hear talk like that. But it's just like, this is the fucking most ridiculous thing I've ever read in my life. This is crap. And wait, this chick went to BYU? Ah, fuck. It's like, that is so embarrassing. That is so embarrassing. My father is a professor of world religions and Judaism at Brigham Young University, the leading authority on Judaism in the entire Mormon church. And this chick went to BYU and might even have been taught by him. And I'm like, oh, God.
Wow.
It's like, kill me. But then when the riffs came out, I started really, really especially Breaking Dawn Part 1. The riff of Breaking Dawn Part 1 is about as close to perfection in a riff that you can possibly get. And the real kicker is like when you realize this was something very special and very it's like I go back and forth on which one is my favorite which one is my favorite riff tracks, I go in between House on Haunted Hill and Breaking Dawn Part 1. And at the end of Breaking Dawn Part 1, which just puts this awesome cap on all the awesome stuff that came 2 hours before it. Kevin and Bill talk over the credits in their super gay Volturi voices over. They're just reading the credits, and it is one of the funniest things you'll ever hear in your entire life. If you have not seen it, you really must, because it's so funny and so great, and just like it makes you feel like you are like, not only are you laughing your ass off, you feel like you are experiencing like just like the definition of excellence. People who are committed to their craft and determined to be the absolute goddamn best at what they do. It's very inspiring. They pull it. It's just like, and that's one of the reasons why I've kind of attached my creative wagon to their star, was because I want to be as good as what I do as they are as what they do. They really are an inspiration to me. And it's also one of the big reasons I'm doing Mystery Science Storybook, is because I want to celebrate this not only the phenomenon of movie riffing in MST3K, I also want to pay a tribute to riff tracks, which is this awesome thing in my life that makes me want to be a better person. Makes me want to be better than what I am. Every day I want to be better than I was the day before. And Riff Tracks does that constantly. And so, I mean, I know it sounds cheesy and maybe kind of dumb that something like this, like Riff Tracks or MST3K, can inspire somebody in this way. It seems that way to other people, but it's perfect. It's one of the most natural things if you're in the Misty community that you would want to, like, that these things, that this phenomenon wants you to make you want to be better. It'd be like, that's why we're a part of this. I don't want to say small, but we're a very niche fandom. It's
definitely.
Which is, it's very, but when you're in the club that we're in, it's like no other fandom out there. Nobody has, like, because these guys do movies, like from Mystery Science Theater to Riff Tracks Cinematic Titanic. These guys have done like 500 movies or somewhere in that range. Yeah. A lot of movies. And we as a fandom are extremely familiar with almost all of it. So it's, so when you can share that with, even if it's relatively few of us, when you can share it with, people who share that same kind of passion that you do about these things, I think it's one of the most close-knit fandoms out there. And I'm very proud at times. I feel like, this might sound pompous, but I feel like sometimes I'm the champion. And not champion like, oh, I'm the WWF champion, I wear this belt because I'm awesome. It's like that, but the champion in the fact that I'm not really representing, but like heralding this phenomenon in what I do. And I'm very proud, and I take this very seriously, because it's something that's very near and dear to me, and to everybody else, almost everybody else I associate with on Facebook and so on, that you want to be proud and you want to live up to not only to everybody's expectations, but you want everybody to know that you love this thing as much as you do. So, and I hope that this is something that that is being expressed. I hope everybody else gets that. That hey, this thing, it's ours. We love it, and this really is dedicated to all of us. This is for this fandom and no one else, because no one else will care about it. But this is for this. This is for us, and that I think I have the responsibility to make the book as best as good as it can possibly be because of these reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool stuff.
Yeah, it's very, very cool.
I think that's really cool of you, and that honestly, that's a lot of stuff I've never really thought about before. Mm-hmm. You made my brain done think.
Yeah, it's just like, but to others it sounds dumb. It'd be like, oh, it's just, like say someone's way into Game of Thrones, and they do cosplay and or just any other fandom, like just put everything else in place of Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is included in there. People dress up as dumb crap and go to cons and make idiots out of themselves. They'll be like, oh, hey, I'm dedicated to my fandom. But so what makes our fandom any less or any more stupid than what you do? I think it's very important, this Mystery Science and Riff Tracks and everything else. It's, it gives people, it gives people cheap laugh, not cheap, but it brings happiness into people's lives. And I think I think that is the most important thing. And Twilight, getting back to Twilight, because if it didn't exist, I wouldn't have all the awesomeness that it spawned. So I'm actually, people say, I'd be like, oh, if I could go back and snuff out Twilight, that would be great. Like, no, I wouldn't do that. What, are you crazy? Then we'd have to give up all this awesome stuff that we just did. So I'm actually very thankful for the Twilight saga. In that it just brought me, like, this thing that came into existence had brought me so much. Just so much happiness, and just so much, just so many good times that I'm actually very happy that it exists now. I didn't feel that way in 2008, but today in 2015, I don't know, I can't imagine a world without it now. It's just, but what can you do?
I think that's a really good view to have. Of stuff like that, because I am not a fan of Twilight, but I love the Riff Track stuff. Know?
Oh God, yes. So
that's the only way to enjoy that franchise. Mm-hmm. If they put out a Riff Tracks, if they could somehow Riff Tracks the book, I'd buy them all.
But I wonder if anybody's doing something like that right now.
Well, there kind of is. There's people online they'll take the entire book and do like riffs of it. I know there's one version, and it's got
okay, I see.
The cast of Harry Potter riffing on the book.
I thought you were referring to what I was doing with, like making riff tracks. Well, in the book. Like, I wonder if someone is doing.
Well, no, but I mean that too. But I mean, actual like a comedy commentary on the book itself.
Do you ever, when you read books, do you ever when you read books, do you ever write jokes into the book? Because I do that all the time, and I can't borrow books because of it, because I can't not write crap down in the book.
I don't do that with my books. I do that a lot with I remember when I was in school and I had a textbook that was wrong, I would write in the correct bit. No, this didn't happen then. Christopher Columbus did not discover America. That is incorrect. And I got in trouble for it.
I don't do it with books. I do it more when I'm watching other movies, even if they're good movies. Sometimes I'll crack a joke just because I feel like busting out a rust because it's just something kind of.
Yeah, it's just innate.
Yeah, me and my friend do that.
I was watching MASH one time with my parents. I think a couple years ago, and I'm pretty sure everybody listening is familiar with MASH, and I don't need to explain what it is.
Oh yeah.
And
hopefully not.
And I was, Colonel Potter is calling General Hamilton or whatever that guy's name is. And he picks up, it's like, General Sir Potter, and I yelled out, Avada Kedavra, motherfucker. So then my dad's like, will you stop riffing MASH? It's like, I can't help it.
This is why I don't watch movies with my grandparents anymore. So I'll do this with I'll do this with like whatever they're like. Okay, they're into Big Bang Theory, which I hate.
God.
I'll be downstairs and I'll be
no.
riffing on the Big Bang Theory, and I'm like, would you stop? I'm like, I'm funnier than they are.
I despise that show so much, and my parents right now are in Israel, and I'm house sitting for them this year, and but it's just like, but before they left, they were way into Big Bang Theory, and it drove me nuts. They were like, "Why don't you ever watch Big Bang Theory with us?" Because I hate it, and they like it
because it hates me.
Yeah, because it's like, number one, you can tell it is not written by people like us. It's like,
no, it's not.
And not only be like, and it's because they get so much stuff wrong, and not in the usual like nerd argument wrong kind of wrong. They get stuff that's like inexcusably on its face wrong. Like I remember Sheldon, the guy who wears the Flash shirt, and I want to stab the person who ever let that guy wear Flash and Green Lantern shirts. Because I remember I was wearing a Flash shirt, because I had both those shirts. I was wearing a Flash shirt, and somebody came up to me and said, "Hey, I like your Sheldon shirt." I was like, "Please never speak."
Oh.
I was like, "Please don't speak to me." It's like,
that would make me want to commit bloody murder.
Yeah.
But it's just like I remember one. I can't remember what episode it was. I mean, I don't know that many episodes, but it was like I think the girl, the blonde girl with the boobs, Penny, I think. Yeah.
Yes.
She was dating some guy from the comic book store, and Sheldon and the guy, I don't remember his name, but Sheldon and the guy started having an argument in the in their little hallway about Battle for the Cowl, and the things they were saying was just like, no, you guys are clueless. Like they're saying things that were just like, I mean, I can't remember the entire. I think they were like talking about who should logically be the next Batman, and one of the guys said Dick Grayson, another guy say Jason Todd, which are both, I guess, valid views, but they were saying things that just weren't accurate, like just like facts that are not accurate, not opinions, but facts. I can't remember what they were, but you could tell, be like, you guys are you guys have no idea what you're talking about. Like, really, it's like I can't.
Yeah.
I've
seen plenty of stuff like about that. That's why it's like, and that's one of the reasons I don't watch it. Also, it's most of the time it's like most of the jokes just like fall flat. It's the same thing with like 2.5 Men. I couldn't stand that show. I thought it was.
My grandparents love that one too, and I don't know why.
I don't understand. I'm like, this stuff is not funny. I'm sorry. If you think it is, then I worry about your sanity.
This is bad comedy.
Mm-hmm. That's why I stay away from most comedy stuff on TV these days, because it's just.
It would be interesting. It might be fine if it was funny, but it can't even be bothered to be funny.
No. Anyway.
Go off on 20 minutes about Big Bang.
No, it's okay. I going back to what you're saying about, the community, I enjoy when I'm watching like old MST3K or riff tracks with friends. It's more fun. It's so much fun when you're doing it with other people who enjoy it, because it provides just a fun atmosphere, and you really get into it, and you're like, we'll crack our own little riffs here and there, and it's just a gale.
Yeah, the community is so great. Even when you're not watching it, because it was last week at this time, I was like, I'm in a Writing with Death mood tonight, and I started watching it, and I was and just for the last week, if you look at my Facebook updates, probably about 20 of them are lines from Writing with Death, and I
cannot wait for that episode to get released on DVD. It should be coming soon, hopefully. It's like Chuck got the rights to all the Universal stuff, so it's going to come out. I'm just waiting for it, because I really love that episode.
Me too. It's definitely maybe not on my top 5, but definitely the top 10. It's high up there on my on my favorite MST3K episodes. But I would write something on my Facebook wall like that nobody else would get, because everyone would be like, well, what the fuck are you talking about? Sam, my patent papers are at a slight angle. What's going on? And literally within like 2 minutes, there's like 44 comments, and they're all lines from Writing with Death. And it's just like, be like, I love these
wonderful.
people, you know?
Yeah. As well, I get that way with Space Mutants at times. I'll try to, it's like, just
She's
pop
dead.
out of nowhere.
She died.
I'm really glad you gave that dead girl another
Yeah,
chance.
okay, look alive here, everybody. Sorry.
I
by
do
the
that a
way-
lot with Soul Taker. Soul Taker and Werewolf. Like, I'll do that a lot.
Werewolf too. That's one of my favorite episodes.
Stop,
Me and my
everyone go
friend
up a shirt size.
Werewolf.
Yes. Yeah, I
Yep.
think that's the line everybody remembers the most from that.
Paul, you is
Like-
a werewolf.
Like either that or it's werewolf or stop, everybody go up a shirt size.
Sure.
Yeah,
size.
We've come to the conclusion, dem bones, dem dry bones, sir.
Well, you know what?
Yo!
I made a joke that nobody got. You know how in Werewolf they have that the guy the militia guy Dictator for Life Santa. He says
Dictator for Life Santa.
That guy says to what's the name of the dude that comes to town? Paul. Okay, yeah,
yes.
yeah,
The
that
writer.
guy. Yeah, okay, you know when he's walking up the stairs and Dictator for Life Santa
Yes.
stops him and says, "Hey, I just found out that Count Dracula was and expletive deleted." And then the joke that I made is maybe like, "What was a what?" It's like I didn't hear the rest of it. I heard the background. You just kind of stopped there, and your mouth and your lips kept moving. What do you mean? It's like someone censored your slur. I mean, like, why did you just? And I get, because it was like what, 1997, and it's still somewhat acceptable to say words like that in regards to publicly. So it's just like, it just seems like they had 2015 sensibilities in 1997. It's kind of like they foresaw like the trend that was going to happen between then and now.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I was just kind of wondering, it's like, why did they just say it? People say it a lot worse, but I understand why they did, and they should have. But like, but at the time I was just being like, just say it. It's like, come on. But at the end of the day, they didn't have to, because we all know what he said. So, but
He's
anyway.
clearly saying werewolf.
Yeah, they say werewolf. Werewolf.
He said Yamaglachi.
You and Nolan's in it for the money, is it? Yes, we is.
Yeah, champagne.
You Castleton snob. I'm sorry. That was
So he's the kind of werewolf that asks you to sign in at a desk?
Like, if there was.
Oh, now he's got gray hair.
You guys are all werewolves. Why are you wearing shirts? Don't you know? Did you not, kid?
I just love that when Servo says that with so much frustration. Oh, now he's got gray hair, because the guy's hairstyle and color keeps changing every like 20 minutes.
Yeah, I love me some harpsichord music.
I actually thought about including werewolf in the book, but I decided against it because I thought it would be kind of hard, because it would be kind of difficult to fill up 12 pages of that, because it's basically the same joke over and over and over.
It is.
And another reason was because I was also doing the Twilight Harry Potter crossover, and I already made one joke. Like, if you go and look at the sample on MysteryScienceStorybook.com of when Harry met Bella, one of my favorite jokes is that Edward goes looking for Jacob on the beach, where like all the topless, all the shirtless Apache werewolves are playing frisbee all the time. I had Edward show up on the beach looking for Jacob, and there's a sign stuck in the sand, and it says, Shirtless Werewolf Beach National Park. So it's like, okay, well, I can't possibly have two werewolves in the same book. That would be silly, you know.
Anyway, well, speaking of favorite episodes, what can you tell us, like, what like your top, at least your top 5 favorite episodes
Top
are?
5. I would definitely say, well, definitely in the top 5. The top 3 I would have to do, and I'm not sure which order. I'm not sure in what order they go in, but it would have to include Hobgoblins, Final Sacrifice, and Time Chasers.
Good choices.
All good choices. Very good choices.
As 5, I'll go ahead and put Riding with Death at number 5. Hold on, I want to take a look at what I have on my computer here. I just want to. Because if I have it on my computer, it means I like it a lot. So, okay, let's see here. Okay, we have, okay. Okay, Puma Man's on here. Werewolf's on here. Okay, Final Sacrifice. Hobgoblin said that. That's film. Oh, that's the film crew. I didn't know I had that on here. Space Mutiny's on there. I'll tell you what. I like Skydivers a lot.
Skydivers is a really good one.
Yeah, I actually think that one is the best out of the Coleman Francis trilogy.
Yeah, I like that one just a little more than like BC Yucca Flats. I would like the riffing for that one. Like Red Zone, I still like that one's like the most painful. Well, I don't know. It's hard to say which one is the most painful of those 3 movies, but I think I kind of agree with you that I think that's got like the best riffing of all 3 of them. Just a slightly more than maybe BC Yucca Flats, which is a lot of fun because of the shorts and everything.
Yeah, so I definitely think I'm having difficulty placing number 5, but just looking for, I'd probably have to say Jack Frost or the Deadly Bees would fill this list out. One of those 2 probably. So
I think that's a pretty good list, personally.
Yeah. Is there any Joel episodes that you also really like?
Well, my friend Brake, he had I would have to say out of the Joel episodes, the top 2 would definitely have to be Manos, obviously, and Santa Claus Conquers the Martians, because I was really doubled over laughing. I almost fell off my cot at one point, laughing at Manos.
Yeah.
Now I like the Riff Tracks live version a little bit better than that, but at the time, and that doesn't mean I stopped liking the Joel version, but but the Joel version was just brought everything back. It's like, oh wait, I'm a fan of this. It's like, I remember this now, and so I definitely have to say those 2 Pod People probably.
Oh, Pod People is amazing. Yes.
Joel what's the episode where they have a robot that speaks in foam? It might be like First Spaceship to Venus or something.
Maybe.
I don't remember.
See, and here's the thing, and I've said this many times, and it's not an excuse, and it's not like a cop out, or I'm not like lecturing people that I'm really much more familiar with the line of Mike, Kevin, and Bill. There are some Joel episodes that I know about and I've watched and that I've liked, but I'm not as familiar with Joel episodes as I am with Sci-Fi Channel and Riff Tracks. And in fact, I've asked people, I'll be like, hey guys, I kind of have like an unfair, I kind of view some of these Joel episodes a bit unfairly because of my bias towards the Sci-Fi Channel, and it's kind of unfair to me, and I want to give these things a decent chance to win me over. So, suggest the best ones that you would think that I would like, and I'll go. Because it's just so vast, you just don't know where to start anymore. It's
Well, yeah, it's almost 200 episodes that the series did, so there's a lot. I mean, I haven't seen every episode yet.
Neither.
I've seen a lot.
Has anybody seen every? Oh, somebody had. I was just obviously.
There's plenty of fans who've seen every episode, but it's like, when I got back into loving the show, 7 years ago, it's like I've probably watched somewhere between 100 and maybe 120 maybe of all the episodes, and that's a good portion. But there's still plenty I still haven't watched yet. Especially like a lot of some of the early Joel stuff. Most of the Mike era I've seen. It's like because that's when I started that's when I became a fan, was during the sci-fi years. So it's like, and I kind of gravitate a little toward Mike, but I still like Joel. So it's like, but I've seen a good portion of both halves of the show. Like the Joel years and then the Mike years.
I know a lot of people like Mitchell. I know a lot of people. I just haven't sat down and watched it yet. In fact, Matthew J. Elliott has said to me a number of times, "You need to watch Mitchell." Okay, I'll get to it.
Mitchell is definitely one I would recommend, just because it's the big transition episode, and the riffing is really good for Joel's like last episode. Mm-hmm. Well, until it came back when he came back to guest star for Soul Taker.
I thought they used him perfectly in that. In Soul Taker, I thought, oh, this would be like, hey, take us with you. Oh, I don't really want to. That was so great.
I don't really want to.
I'm trying to think. Some of the if you like, Sword and Sandal kind of stuff, the Hercules episodes that Joel did are a lot of fun. Let me just try to think. They're good episodes. Day the Earth Froze, the first Russo Finch movie. Bride the Monster is a good one.
Daddy-O looks pretty funny. So I think I might.
That one I haven't seen yet. That's going to be actually on the. That's going to be on the next box set.
Because I heard Paul Chaplin, I think is his name, one of the writers from MST3K.
Yeah.
He said that I don't know if he said it was his favorite episode, but it was just like that was when he realized, when he wrote the script for Daddy-O, that he realized, like, this is like the best job I have. Here I am writing jokes about Daddy-O. So it's like, so that kind of piques my interest a little bit. I also, as far as like, no, I just remembered one Joel episode that I really do like quite a bit is Time of the Apes. So.
Oh, that's a great one. That's very
yes.
Good. I also would recommend Cave Dwellers. The first
I have
season
that
3
one. Is that with the Kevin Sorbo guy? Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Ator.
Okay. Yeah.
That's an excellent one. Any of the Gamma, if you like,
Gamma.
Giant monster movies, the Gamma ones are all lots of fun.
See now that's the thing. I know Gamera is this huge part of MST3K lore, and that's why spoiler alert. That's why I drew him on pages. I think it's pages 3 and I think it's pages 5 and 6 of Trip to Valley Lodge. You know that scene in that scene in Manos where they're just like looking at the painting and be like, oh, that must be the master himself. I basically word for word ripped this line off until like the next to last panel, and I blurred out, and it wasn't easy to blur my drawing of Gamera out. So people wouldn't see it, but obviously people are going to see it because it's right on the next page. It's right there. But they're like, so it has to be something, but nevertheless, for people to buy it, for people to buy the joke, you have to believe that these guys are looking at something that you can't see. And that you're assuming is the master. That it was a little harder to mask than I thought it was going to be, but I eventually just did some Gaussian blurs in Photoshop and just stuck it in there. So in the third panel, what's his face, the dad, Hal Warren, says to Torgo, it's like, "Say, Torgo, is that your master?" Torgo's like, "What? No, that's not the master." And then it's like that, and then you come to this full splash page of this picture. They have a picture of Gamera, and
Nice.
it's not the master, it's Gamera.
That's
Torgo
great.
says, "That's just Gamera. The painting came with the building. I've been meaning to take it down." And
That's
I
awesome.
did a Google translation, and so it's probably wrong. That's Gamera is friend to or it's either friend to children. I think it is actually.
Gamera,
Yeah, a friend. No.
Gamera is friend to all
Yes.
children.
I can't remember what. I think it might have been friend to children that I just stuck into Google Translate and put the Japanese.
Don't worry, that's close enough.
That sounds really like it's like I'm pretty sure this is wrong, but who in Japan is going to read this? So it's like you have to read Japanese to get the joke, unless you're just explained it to you.
Do you remember which Gamera movie one of the kids said that the first time? Gamera's friend.
Was it said that? I thought maybe.
I think it was Giron. I believe it was Giron.
It's a joke because one of the kids in one of the movies actually says that. Yes, Gamera is friend to all children. Yeah.
So I always assumed that they made that up.
No, it's an actual dub line from one of the movies.
So, but they have to reference it later, though, right? I mean, because that's like the one. Like, if you don't know anything about the Gamera movies on MST3K, which I don't, you do know that Gamera is a friend to children. So I think that probably they would have to have referenced it because they did 6 Gamera movies or something. Maybe not that high, but no, it's a lot. No,
it's a lot.
Like I think it's more movies than they ever did. I think the max amount of movies that they did, even by more than even if it's just by the same person, would be
it's the most of any movie series they ever touched.
Yeah.
It's
the closest I think they ever. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but later on they did the Coleman Francis trilogy, and I don't know if they ever did, anything else like that where they just did themed continuations of.
They did 2 Godzilla movies at the end of season 2, Godzilla vs. Megalon, Godzilla vs. Sea Monster, which I also really enjoy because I'm a Godzilla fan, and the riffing on both of those are quite good. And I'm a Godzilla fan, and I love those episodes because those are not the best Godzilla movies, so they're perfect fodder to be riffed on. So those are a lot of fun too, besides the Gamera. So those are the kind of major kind of movie franchises they actually been touched on during the show run, that are related to each other. The Amazing Colossal Man and its sequel. Okay. The Amazing Colossal Man and War of the Colossal Beasts, they did those in season 3.
Video game joke upcoming. Is it so it's like Ico and Shadow of the Colossus, basically.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah, it was like 5 people got that. Everyone else is like, what are they talking about? What are they talking about? Yeah. I just made 5-10 people really happy. And everybody else is just like, what the hell? What's Ico? What's an Ico?
What's a paladin?
But yeah, if you ever get a chance, definitely watch some of the Gamera ones. They're a lot of fun. Especially some of the later ones. Once they get to Gamera versus Gauss and Gamera versus Giron, the stuff in those movies are, especially Giron. Giron is just a big WTF kind of movie. I'm not joking. At one point, Gamera's doing gymnastics. They make Olympic jokes. He spots the landing. Because he's literally he's going around you see in the Olympics when they're doing the gymnastics the pole when they're they're going round and around and around the pole. He literally does that right in the middle of a fight with the monster, and it's just you're what the heck? It's just so ridiculous.
It's almost as good as when Godzilla slides on his tail to hit a monster.
Oh yeah, the flying drop kick in Godzilla vs. Megalon.
Is that when they? I think I've seen that. No, not seen that. I've seen that. I've seen that clip. Where
it was in their theme song.
Okay.
It
looks like a Power Ranger Zord on roller skates.
Yes, they used that clip of Godzilla doing the flying drop kick from that movie in the intro. Intro to the show, all the way from season 3 all the way to season 5 when Joel left. It was and then they changed it to a different clip for clips for Mike when he.
It was an iconic clip.
It was an iconic book because
I might have to
like
stick
when
that
it
in the book
happens,
somehow.
yeah, because like when it happens, when he does it, like Joel and the bots, they just start laughing. They don't make any jokes. They just start laughing because it's so ridiculous. They just
that
laugh.
actually makes me laugh. When I hear, especially in riff tracks and MST3K, but more riff tracks, when you just hear them, like not bother to make jokes. This is exactly what you were talking about. Just double over laughing, and just like that makes me laugh more than some of the jokes because because it's like because it tells you everything you need to know about what you just saw. That like they can't contain themselves. They have to break character and just laugh at it, which is
it's perfect. Like those moments are just great.
Yeah. I'm also kind of partial to some of the episodes where the movie really tested their brains and how much awfulness they could handle. Like well, not Castle from Winter. That one's kind of a tough one anyway. But like Manos and Hobgoblins is another good example. Hobgoblins. Invasion of the Neptune Men. That one. That one came quite close to breaking up.
I had never seen it before. Tried to watch it, and it was so ridiculous I couldn't watch it.
I'm that way with that Prince of Space, except that for me it's just kind of boring.
Yeah, no, like the movie, like I'm sure the riffs are funny, but I'm just like, oh my god. I mean, like
that the last half of that movie is just like so much wash, rinse, repeat footage, and it's horrible, and that's why like Servo and them just snap because it's so bad.
Yeah, they literally turned against the movie, like actively, angrily turned against the movie.
Yeah, when like Servo just loses, it goes da 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 da, eat it, movie, and he just like goes completely off the rails.
Here's the thing, I love Hobgoblins. It's just in fact that might be might be number one.
It's in my top 10 as well.
It's definitely I guess it just depends on the day. And when I got Rick Sloan to interview, that dude is so nice. I mean, he'll be the first one to say that the movie really kind of blows.
Toby interviewed him for the show before I joined the show.
Isn't he great?
Yeah.
Isn't he just like the nicest guy you'll ever meet?
Oh, yeah, he's a really great dude.
Yeah, he's just like I was like, and I like him on a personal level. But the thing is, the more I like, and this is kind of like on the opposite end of what I was saying about Twilight, is that it's Hobgoblins, just on the surface, just seems like the most like offensive growth, just like because it's not really a bad movie. It's a somewhat competent one. It's shot properly. It's lit properly, kinda.
It's stupid.
It does entertain.
And the characters are kind of a little lonesome.
But here's the thing.
Except for the security guard.
It's entertaining in its own right in ways that other bad movies aren't.
Yes.
And I actually, I'll be like, I look on Wikipedia, like, list of worst movies ever. I see Hobgoblins on there. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to really defend. Well, I guess I am defending Hobgoblins. Is that really shouldn't be included in the worst movies ever? Because I mean, at the very least, it is so much fun. It's it's such a. I mean, despite it being bad, it has a plot, a slow moving one, albeit, but it does have a plot. It is somewhat competently produced, and also it's actually pretty funny. If you can get past the grotesqueness of it all, you could tell that the goal, like, it's not self-aggrandizing like so many. It's not like Steven Spielberg doing Lincoln, where he's like up his own ass about how great he is. It's like Hobgoblins doesn't pretend to be anything that it's not. And once you realize that, you're able to laugh with it and not at it. I mean, I've never seen it without the riff tracks. Not riff tracks, without the
riffing.
Yeah, without the riffing. But still, I think I think the movie's a lot of fun. I think that I think it probably gets too much of a bad rep. It deserves a bad rep a little bit. Like there are some pretty big flaws in the movie. But, ultimately I think Hobgoblins as a film is, maybe gets more crap than it deserves, as opposed to something like Plan 9 from Outer Space. So.
Yeah, we've actually discussed something like this before with Time Chasers. Time Chasers is honestly a pretty competent movie. It has a lot of...
it is dumb, but
it's dumb, but it's got a lot of really neat concepts. The plot makes sense. The performances aren't terrible. It's got a couple of neat effects, and honestly, a flying time machine makes sense.
I got a whole building full of people around.
It really doesn't deserve the 2.3 rating on IMDb, is what I'm saying.
I agree. Yeah, I agree about Time Chasers. Maybe to a less of an extent than about Hobgoblins, but I do agree.
Yeah. And overall, it's a lot of fun. I mean, there's a reason why, like, my friend and I, when we've introduced two other people we've known to MST3K, among the first batch of episodes we show them is Hobgoblins, for a reason, because it's that good.
That's another one where the end credits is. I mean, like they have. I remember I watched a documentary with when they went to the Sci-Fi Channel. They made them show the entire credits, like all the credits, and Paul Chaplin and a few people were like, they would be like, what they didn't have at Comedy Central or Comedy Channel or however they call it. They didn't really do a whole lot of science fiction ones. And science fiction movies, you have, like, your title sequence is like 11 minutes long, and the end credits, and you have to show everything. So they basically have to come up with extended skits at the beginning and at the end of each film.
Like the one for Space Mutiny is one of the best. Or what they do with the end credits for Space Mutiny is hilarious.
It's like, okay, it would still be the 70s if not for you and your 80s.
But yeah, the one for Hobgoblins is for the opening credits of Hobgoblins where
that's funny.
Tom and Crow try to escape the theater because they don't want to watch the movie is awesome, and then the end credits is also hilarious. What they do during the end credits, it's a win-win.
Yes.
But some of my favorite riffs are from that episode. Actually, one of my favorite subversive riffs one of the best examples of them getting crap past the radar is an episode. It's when the girl's up on stage at the dive bar and she's, doing the erotic singing and dancing, and the bouncer holds up a sign, that says hit. Crow says, "You really should add an S to that." And Tom goes, and then the best part, Tom goes, "Hits?" And Crow goes, yeah. Like, no, that's not what I meant, but I'll take it. Cause I'm not allowed to say the other word. It's one of that one kills me every time, just because it's just like, we're gonna get away with something.
I do feel bad though. I mean, like, you can't help but kinda, I mean, while the end credits for Hobgoblins is really, really super funny, you can't help but kind of feel bad for Rick.
And the ironic part is that that's the only part that Rick. Taking shots because they're going after him, and I understand that. He told me, and I understand how he feels. Oh, yeah. It's funny, but I understand from his perspective why he wouldn't like it.
I mean, I can see both sides of it, and I kind of agree with. In fact, I do agree with both sides. But
now, Mr. Sloan, when you were writing,
you're a total idiot. I think Rick Sloan is just such a great guy, and he really doesn't deserve that kind of riffing, but however,
he got a little too personal.
However, maybe it did get a little too personal. However, it was funny, and it works.
It was.
And when something works, you use it. So it's you don't just we can't do that. It'll make somebody mad. Yeah, no. If it works, do it. So.
Well said.
Well said.
Alright, I think we're kind of running down on time with this one. This one got a lot longer than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I don't know how to shut the hell up.
No, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's been a great amount of fun. We're definitely going to try and have you on the show again sometime, preferably when we're talking about riff track stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, I have a lot to say about riff tracks in case.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Especially with the slate of live shows.
Oh yeah. Oh, actually, the room is in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what?
Just a little over 2 weeks.
I want to tell you guys a story, but I don't want it to. I don't want it. I don't want anybody else to hear it because it would. It would just kind of, I don't think I should be talking about it publicly. So so after the show ends, I want to tell you guys a story.
We'll talk about it after we stop recording. How about that?
All right, so I think that's just about it for this one.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, David, it's a real pleasure, a lot of fun having you, and glad that the Kickstarter has been a success for you, and that hopefully will help spread maybe a little word of mouth here a little bit more, and you can hit some of the stretch goals.
Well, and as far as that goes, yes, I do want to make the stretch. I mean, like, it'll be okay if we don't get one more donation, but however, from where I'm sitting, it's going to be a lot easier for me if we make $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000. And the campaign ends on at 5:20 a.m. because it ends at 5:30 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time, which is would be about 7:30 where you guys are. So 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time on April 22nd is when it ends. And that's when all the, like the deluxe hardcover, and a lot of the other exclusive goodies that you can only get through the Kickstarter, that's when all that ends. So if anybody wants these limited edition hardcovers or any of the other exclusive goodies, donate now so that you're able to get you're able to get what you want, and you can also help, and you can also help the project and me, so I can just focus on this and just do the best job I can with it. So, so that's my pitch.
Yeah, Toby will make sure to put up a link to the Kickstarter.
Oh, absolutely. Your Kickstarter and your website and RiffWiki for those of our listeners who are unfamiliar with RiffWiki, they can check that out as well. So, again, thank you very much for being here. It was really awesome to have you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay,
it was a great pleasure.
You guys were great. It's so much fun talking to you guys.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, we look forward to hopefully having you again.
I look forward to that as well.
Well, this has been the MSTieCast. I'm Toby Mobius.
And I'm Justin.
And you are?
Oh, I'm Dave Chadwick, a.k.a. Sugar Ray Dodge. How you doing, everybody? Oh, we're saying goodbye. Goodbye!
Yeah.
I didn't know you were waiting for me. It's like, well, I'm up? Am I still talking?
All right. See you later, people.
Goodbye.
Now, poopy.